Imagine an army that officially never existed. No rosters. No commendations. No graves with names. This is not a story of heroes printed on recruitment posters or smiling faces frozen in black and white photographs. This is a story about ghosts. Do you think you understand the Vietnam War? Forget what the textbooks taught you. Forget the maps, the timelines, the neat explanations. Today, we are tearing the classified seal off, one of the most disturbing and extraordinary operations in Special Forces history. One American colonel. Perfect posture. Perfect uniform. A man carved straight out of the military system, convinced that wars are won with clean boots, polished brass, and beautifully written reports. And 5 Australians. No ranks. No formal orders. No mercy. 5 shadows who rejected everything. The Pentagon worshipped. What happens when a man addicted to headquarters? Comfort is dropped into the living furnace of the jungle with a unit that despises the very idea of command. This is not merely a clash of military cultures. This is the complete collapse of doctrine. Over 4 days, you will witness a human psyche fracture under pressure. You will feel breath stop in your chest as the enemy passes within inches of your face. And you will learn why these men never listened carefully, never asked for extraction. Why did they saw off their rifles? Why did they walk barefoot through hell itself? And what terrifying truth were they hiding? Even from their allies? Watch until the final second, because the ending of this story will force you to question what the word victory truly means. We're entering the green zone now. There is no turning back. Colonel Arthur Blackwood arrived in Southeast Asia, carrying doctrine in his briefcase and confidence in his spine. A West Point graduate, razor-sharp in appearance and attitude. He was known behind his back as the nail-rigid, unbending, immovable to Blackwood. War was an equation. Inputs, outputs, firepower multiplied by logistics equals success. From the altitude of a helicopter, Vietnam looked manageable. A battlefield that could be segmented, scheduled, controlled. A war that could be won cleanly. That illusion was about to dissolve fast. In the suffocating heat of 1969. Blackwood requested a short observation tour with Allied reconnaissance units. Not for glory, not for adventure, for data. Specifically, the Australians operating in the notoriously hostile Phu Quoc province. Rumors had crossed his desk. Whispers that these men fought differently. That they ignored doctrine. That they survived without the safety net of modern warfare. Blackwood dismissed it all as exaggeration. Colonial improvisation. Second-rate scouts with outdated ideas and inferior equipment. He expected to write a report, highlighting inefficiencies. Instead, he found a fracture in reality that never healed. Blackwood was no coward. He had run long-range patrols in Europe. He had flown with air cavalry in Vietnam's early chaos. He had buried men. Yet he clung to one belief above all others. That chaos could be controlled. The jungle, he believed, was just another variable. When he prepared for transfer, his uniform was immaculate. His sidearm perfectly aligned. His orders sealed in a manila folder. He was the embodiment of industrial war. No one warned him that, deep in the bush, power is a liability. The Australian base offered no ceremony. No briefing room. No humming radios. Only trees. Endless. Silent. Transport officer pointed toward the tree line. That's them. Blackwood expected a platoon. What? Stepped out of the vegetation. Looked like something the war had forgotten. 5 men. Filthy. Silent. 1. Carried a rifle with its barrel sawed down to a brutal stump. Another wore no helmet. No insignia. No visible radio. They did not salute. They barely acknowledged his existence. One of them simply turned and walked into the jungle. Blackwood asked where the rest of the unit was. The tallest man, Sergeant Jack "Dingo" Harper gestured calmly to himself and the others. That was it. No support. No logistics. No extraction plan. Just 5 men in instinct. As Blackwood followed them into the bush, clipboard clutched like armor, his worldview began to peel apart. They carried no maps, no radios, no safety net. Blackwood saw chaos. What he didn't yet understand was efficiency stripped to its bones. To him, they looked primitive relics of an earlier war. But the jungle does not reward modernity. It rewards memory. Their appearance disgusted him. Rotting uniforms, faces darkened with mud, boots cut open to drain water. One man carried an Owen gun, obsolete, ancient. But the true horror came when Blackwood realized something was missing. No radio. No lifeline to artillery. No medevac. No reinforcements. When he demanded an explanation, Harper tapped his temple. That's the radio. In Blackwood's world, this was insanity. Here, it was survival. The jungle attacked immediately. Within minutes, the heat crushed him. His pristine uniform soaked through. His lungs burned. His gear betrayed him, clanking, snagging, announcing his presence. The Australians made no sound. They didn't walk. They flowed. By midday, command meant nothing. His boots shredded his feet. Blisters burst. Pain became constant. He stumbled once, fell hard. The patrol froze. No words. No anger. Just 5 silent stares. In that moment, Blackwood understood the truth. He wasn't an observer. He was a threat. Nightfall destroyed what remained of his certainty. The jungle closed in. Sounds multiplied. Shadows moved. His exhausted mind betrayed him. Every noise became an enemy. His pistol felt like the last anchor to reality. Then he saw it. A shape peeling away from a jaw. Tree. Enemy. Saboteur. His weapon rose, and a hand crushed his wrist. Harper. Silent. Unseen. The gun was forced into the dirt. Shadow moved again. Not a soldier. A vine. Blackwood didn't sleep that night. And he would never be the same again. In that silence, Blackwood realized the brutal truth. He was not an observer here. He was a danger. His rank meant nothing to the leeches crawling up his legs. His medals meant nothing to the mosquitoes feasting on his neck. But this humiliation was just the appetizer. The jungle was preparing to serve him a main course of pure terror. He tried to assert some control, tried to remember the manuals he had memorized. He wanted to check his compass, verify their grid reference, and establish a fallback point. But when he looked at his map, the green mass of the forest mocked his attempts at navigation. The Australians never looked at a map. They navigated by the shape of the trees, the smell of the wind, and the behavior of the insects. Blackwood felt a rising panic, a claustrophobia that squeezed his throat. He was lost in a world where his rules did not apply, tethered to 5 men who looked less like soldiers and more like part of the landscape.